Hello, biology students. Today we're going to be talking about trophic levels and pyramids. Let's get started. So a trophic level is referring to the different levels on a food chain, and we call them feeding steps. So this is a bit longer of a food chain than we saw last time. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 different steps in which different organisms are eating each other. So 4 different trophic levels. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so again, this is our food chain. And last time we learned that a grass or plant is a producer, which has the same term, autotroph, that are synonyms. We need to know both of them. And we learned that all of these other organisms that consume something else, the snail eats the grass, right? The arrow points into the consumer's mouth. We call those heterotrophs or consumers. Now, because now we're learning this word trophic level, we're going to label each of the consumers by a different word that means a number. So the first consumer is called primary because primary means 1. The second consumer is secondary, meaning 2. And the tertiary one is the third level one. 1, 2, 3 consumers. We name them this way to help us know, oh, this is the tertiary one. It's at the end of the food chain. It helps us know that. Don't forget, consumer and heterotroph are synonyms, producer and autotroph are synonyms. Okay, let's learn how we can put these on a ecological pyramid. So keep this food chain in mind. So we're going to take that food chain and now we're going to turn it upwards, all right? Kind of tilting it. So the grass, the snail, the bird, and the snake, they're all still there. We see the arrows all pointing into the consumer's mouth. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to add those labels again. So remind me, the grass, what was a name for it? Well, it was a producer or an autotroph. Either word would work. And the snail was the first consumer. What was the bird? Was it the first consumer? No, the bird's the secondary consumer. And then that makes the snake the tertiary consumer. So as we look at this image, we have to wonder, especially based on the shape of a triangle or a pyramid, we wonder where are the majority of the organisms? Are there more grass or plant organisms, producers? Or are there more of the primary consumers? Are there more of the secondary consumers? Or are there more of the tertiary? Which of these separate trophic levels are there most? Well, we can actually do this by counting the pictures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. But there's only 4 snails. There's only 2 of these. All right, so if we were to compare producers versus primary consumers, there's way more producers. Producers versus secondary consumers, way more producers. So what's this pattern? There's always going to be the majority producers. Always more producers. And that's really important. So make sure you write that in your notes. Why is that? Well, we need a lot of grass because all those snails are going to eat the grass. And then all the birds are going to eat the snails. And all the snakes will eat the birds. So if we don't have a big base on our ecological pyramid, they won't be able to have enough food or energy to go up the pyramid. Let's learn a little bit more about this energy up the pyramid. So if we were to actually put energy values, they're in calories. We usually see calories on our food labels as we eat things like chips. The actual fancy science way of writing it is kilocalories. All right, so the majority of the organisms we said were plants, so the majority of the energies in the plants, 1,000 kilocalories. Only 100 in the snails and only 10 in the birds, only 1 kilocalorie in the snakes. We call this the 10% rule because as energy moves up the pyramid or up a food chain, a lot of energy is lost. Actually, only 10% of the energy moves to the primary consumers. 100 is 10% of 1,000. How much energy actually makes it up here? 10 kilocalories is what percentage of 100? That one's a little bit easier. 10%. And 1 out of 10 is also 10%. That's why we call this the 10% rule. So only 10% of the energy of a previous trophic level moves up to the next trophic level. Well, what amount then is lost? 90% is lost, and it's lost as heat, all right, as organism works or lives its life. Great job. We're going to practice this in class, guys. See you next time.